It's a health condition that affects 1 in 7 people in the UK. And this week, my next guest has made headlines after revealing she used cannabis oil to help cure her migraines. And TV presenter Jenny Powell joins us now alongside Dr Hilary. Jenny, I mean, these were debilitating migraines. This was taking days out of every single month for you where you just couldn't leave the house.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's only very much later on in life for me, sort of mid-40s, when I discovered that I was actually suffering from them. First of all, I just thought it was a really bad headache or a virus. And I remember I was actually filming. It was freezing cold. I was about 46, a bit stressed. And it was that time of the month. And I just had this awful searing headache. I felt sick. And I actually, for the first time ever, thought, I can't work. And I had to ask if I could just sit down for a while and stop working. Since then, sort of on a sort of regular basis, normally I think to do with my hormones and when my periods start, I've just had this awful migraine where sometimes 3 to 4 days I can't function, can't make tea for everyone, can't do the school run, can't go to work. And it's something that I didn't really... I never really thought about it, with people say, oh, I've got a migraine. I thought, oh, well, she's just got a headache, but why does she have to lie down, Why is it so dramatic? Because you look fine, but actually... And it changes your character. I'd be really sort of disgruntled and snappy, and, I just don't want to talk to anyone. I mean, actually, like, hell to live with. And it was hell to go through as well.
And had you been to the GP then and gone down the
yes,
normal route and had you tried various kind of medications?
Yeah, I'm not great at popping pills. I'm all for being preventative and saying, but why am I getting them? What can I do to prevent them rather than, right, well, every month I've got to have this stack of pills to stop me suffering so much. So, for me, there was sort of like a safety box. It was, where I'd have these pills. It was sumatriptan, which kind of worked. But I'm not happy with that, really. I'd rather find out why I'm getting it and what I can do about it, or maybe a more natural way of getting over it.
And this is then how the cannabis oil came about. It was your partner actually suggested it.
Yes. My other half, Martin, he sort of researches a lot into sort of, well, first of all, from nutrition, but also to health and sort of holistic ways of looking after yourself. And it was a friend of his who actually was epileptic. And she'd done a lot of due diligence with it and discovered that it helped her. I'm just saying this is all for... Everybody's different. I'm not an expert. But, I started to read up on things and discovered that, for headaches, it could help. So I tried, and it's been like 3-4 months, and I haven't had a migraine, which for me is life-changing.
It's really, really good. And it could very well be the placebo effect. Who knows, Hilary? But where do you stand on this? Because if you're saying you've got 3 or 4 months there without this terrible migraine, you can't knock that in itself.
What Jenny describes really well is menstrual migraine. And this is very common. So many women, in the days leading up to their period and during their period, they can get migraines on a frequent basis. And part of the reason for that is a falling off of estrogen levels just before a period and a rise in chemicals called prostaglandins, which can cause inflammation and pain. And normally we treat those. We can treat those with estrogen just before the period. We treat them with medicines that can stop the inflammation, and that would be the traditional way forward. Now, there's huge hype at the moment about CBD products sold as health supplements legally in this country.
I've seen them in loads of shops
recently.
Suddenly they start popping up.
But the thing is, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, and you really don't know what you're buying. So some will contain a lot more CBD than other products, which may have hardly any. And there is research being done on how therapeutic CBD can be in things like neurological conditions, headaches, migraines, anxiety, depression. A lot of work's being done, but we don't yet know how effective CBD is and what concentration you need. Yes, you can buy it, provided it satisfies all the safety and sort of regulatory necessities, but you don't know what you're buying, and some of it can be really expensive. Now, it's worth trying, and you've tried it, and it seems to work for you, and that's fine. What it doesn't have in is THC, which is the psychoactive chemical that gives you a high. So you're not getting a high, but you are getting some pain relief.
Yeah, and I think that's where the confusion lies with an awful lot of people now, because we don't quite know what is this. You hear the word cannabis and you think of...
You're sort of self-diagnosing and self-medicating, really.
Yeah, you're trying a health supplement, which is legal. Cannabis is a Class B drug, and it's still illegal to use and possess and supply. So, you know, you've got to be... There is a big distinction. This CBD doesn't contain the THC, which has that gives you the high, has the psychoactive activity. But it may be that for some people, when they use a decent concentration of CBD, it does give them relief against pain. And some people even think it could be good for conditions like Parkinson's, epilepsy, anxiety and depression, even cancer.
And it is just drops, isn't it? You just...
Yeah, just drops. I just take you know, you sort of work up to what sort of works for you. But for me, just a couple of drops underneath the tongue for about 60, 90 seconds, and I do it twice a day. But like I say, you know, it works for me, I think. And I've been very careful. I've done the due diligence on what I've got. I've sort of certified organic, non-sort of toxic drops that I use from hemp. So you know, you have to go out there and do the research.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it is tricky because it's, you know, it's very expensive as well. And if you get the wrong one, you know.
And there are plenty you can buy online which will have more concentration, and others you can buy in health food shops might have very, very little, if any.
Yeah.
You know, so just be careful and do your due diligence.
Yeah,
Jenny
because
said.
it's a waste of money otherwise.